But once I got saved, I actually had an understanding as to why I'm not getting zapped. I had something I can lean on. You know, when you're worried about money or how you're going to pay rent, I'm not saying that worry goes away instantly, but once the first little rush of emotions goes away and you can actually sit down and process what's going on in your life, you remember that the Bible says that even birds do not reap, sow, or gather. God feeds them. And he doesn't say we're way more valuable than a bird, but we're way more valuable than a bird. I'll go ahead and add that. Now, that's not to say if you have a notice on your door or a red letter in your mailbox saying the lights are due, it doesn't mean that you won't get evicted or won't get your power turned out. You know, pay your bill if you can. But if you can't, God will provide. You might have to move. You might have to change electric companies. God might send someone to pay your bill. You might get a check in the mail. Or, you know, right now we're in the season where your tax return can hit. You know, it depends. We're getting all these stimulus checks back to back, or some people are. God has your back. And of course, I don't know all the ways that he'll get you what you need. I just know he'll get you what you need. If you might have noticed, whenever I get the opportunity to, I'm not going to say I'm going to call what I'm doing right now preaching. I'll say just teaching or talking, exhorting, or whatever the term is for what I'm doing literally now. I tend to talk about myself more than people from the Bible. No, I have not led a miracle-filled life. I've never walked on water. I've definitely never done anything as spectacular as parting a sea. But I've been through things that I think are relatable for, people maybe now. And one of those things, of course, is, I'm a parent. When my oldest was born, Judah, my wife had preeclampsia. That's the way I'm going to say it. They had two different ways online. That's the way I'm going to pronounce it. And the nurses had gone through this warning that basically either my wife wasn't going to make it or Judah wasn't going to make it. Now, at this time, I'm Christian. I'm at FIC. I was Pastor D. I still am Pastor D's armor bearer, but I was Pastor D's armor bearer at that time. In fact, Pastor D came to visit the hospital, and I don't think they realized that he was coming to visit someone of my hue. So the nurse said, "Oh, we're going to go tell the person that you're waiting." And no one told him. So he was there. He still waited for like 2 hours until I randomly just came out to stretch my legs. And Pastor D was waiting there saying, "Yeah, they told me that they went to go tell you I was here." Anyway, but no, that's Pastor D in a nutshell if you don't know him. So as the nurse is saying this and telling us that we need to pick who's going to live or who's going to die, and I'm freaking out, and of course, like I said, I'm saved, I'm in the Word, and all those scriptures that I read to you earlier, forgotten, didn't remember a single one. God had my back turned into, God, why is this happening? My baby's supposed to be here March, it's January. This should be happening to a heathen, not the armor bearer. No. Again, if I was God, I probably would have sent me a shock. Not a full-on electric zap, but maybe a static shock from a doorknob. Something, a buzz to wake me up. That's what I think I deserved. Now, me saying all this to myself and having all these thoughts, all these doubts, why me? God still had my back. Which, if you want to put that in the chat, feel free. If God has your back. If you feel like he doesn't, then continue to listen, and maybe we'll get there towards the end. God still had my back. Judah came January 28th, over a month early. When she was born, we had a heart doctor, a lung specialist, an eye specialist, ear specialist, some type of internal organs person. Every single doctor or specialist that you could imagine was in there because she was coming too early and nothing was supposed to be developed. So Judah comes out. Everything is fully functioning. She could breathe on her own. She could see. She could hear. Everything is functioning fine. Now, I'm not much of a doctor, and as I explained earlier, I'm definitely not much of a scientist. But I can explain it. God had my back. Despite the doubts, despite the unbelief that I had, God had my back. He has yours. The good thing is that I remember that the second time around with Liam, my wife didn't get the preeclampsia the second time around, but she was getting headaches. All this fluid was built up around Liam to where they told us he was going to be a 10 or 11 pound baby. And I started bragging to people that he was going to be a 10 or 11 pound baby. I remember telling Pastor D, oh yeah, he's going to be like 6'4", probably like 230 pounds. He's going to be huge. And I was taking so much pride in this. We go to the hospital, there's too much fluid, and they say, okay, we need to get Liam out, or whatever. And Liam comes out not 10 pounds, not 11 pounds, but 6 pounds, with 4 pounds of fluid around him. And even as they were taking Liam out, there was this alarm going off, and the doctors, while the alarm was going off, they were talking about what they were going to do that weekend. And I'm sitting there and thinking, God, there's an alarm going off. Like, that doesn't sound like that's normal. But because I was a little more secure, I knew God had my back. I had the previous experience. I didn't worry about it. Liam came out. He's healthy. He's loud. He's wild. And he's fine. But God had my back. Now this is